Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Let's talk about Dead Island 2. So, I played it. I'm a Dead Island fan. I've played Dead Island 1 and Riptide, and that's it, because I refuse to play any of the other ones they've made. I love Dead Island 1. It is a fantastic zombie game. Incredibly unique. It is one of the few zombie games that I think is genuinely its own game. Besides, as alongside like Dead Rising, of course. Dead Island Riptide was I didn't hate it like some people did, but it's underwhelming. It's not great. It's not nearly as remarkable as the first one is. So, Dead Island 2. Now, if you know about Dead Island 2, you should know that this game was, at least I guess I should say, was in development hell for like 10 years. It was announced in 2014 at E3, which, by the way, the announcement trailer for Dead Island 2 in 2014 is probably, in my opinion, one of the best video game trailers of all time. If you have not seen the Dead Island 2 trailer, please, for the love of God, look it up right now. I'm not kidding. Pause this video. Look it up. I'm not kidding. It is that good. It is like, I know GTA 6 trailer just came out, and that's good because it's a good trailer, but also it's just hype. Ignore that for right now. This Dead Island 2's trailer, 2014, genuinely just a really good trailer. They also have some gameplay trailers as well for Dead Island 2. The problem is this game has been passed down through, like, I couldn't even count the amount of studios that have like technically worked on this game. This game has been reworked, rewritten, rebranded, everything. It has been through so many crushers and slicers through its life, and it's finally here. And by the way, I just want to say, when it was resurfaced, when it was finally talked about again, it came out of nowhere. Like, I swear to you, like, no one was expecting news on Dead Island 2 to come out. Everyone, I think, assumed the game was dead. Like, it was not going to happen. Just because of the original studio, I think, just disbanded or something. I should have done more research for this, but this is not a history of the game. This is a review, so I guess I should stop talking. But that is very, very important information going into this game. I have finished the main story and played a few side quests. And the background video that you're seeing now is some gameplay of Sola, which is the DLC for Dead Island 2. This is not the main game. This is the DLC that they released, the paid DLC, one of two paid DLCs they've done so far. I'm currently playing through Sola, so I just wanted to go ahead and show you what I've played so far. If you don't want any spoilers, just don't pay too much attention, if that makes sense. Literally, just don't pay that much attention to it. The audio is going to be off, so you don't even need to listen to dialogue or even look at the subtitles if you don't want to. If you don't care, pay attention. Doesn't matter to me. I just wanted y'all to be able to watch something while I talked. So, we're going to be reviewing the main Dead Island 2 game. I'm going to be reviewing each DLC on its own when I finish them. So that'll come later. So right now we're just talking about Dead Island 2, the main game. That's all we're talking about today. I'm going to kind of divide it between like pros, cons, mixed kind of things. So I'm going to say right off the bat, almost everything I'm going to say is mixed. There's a few pros. There's some things that are just outright really good about the game. There's some things that are just outright bad, but a majority of it is mixed. For one, I'm gonna talk about the differences between this and the first game, kind of, because that's, in my opinion, what makes it important. The first game was set on an island. The first game was, like, in my opinion, when I played it, genuinely scary. Like, it was a scary game, and for me, it was scary because you were on an island. The game made you really feel like you were away from everything. Like, you're on an island. The zombie apocalypse is now happening. There's nothing you can do. You're on an island. What are you going to do? So the horror came from that, really. It was really well set out. The map is open. It's an open world. The story was very interesting, different, unique. I'm not going to say anything about it because this is a non-spoiler review. But it was very different, and it still is different. I'll get to that later, but story of Dead Island is interesting. It is not what you would think it is. Don't just go into it thinking it's zombies. There's more to it than that. So Dead Island 2 has a lot to beat. Dead Island, in my opinion, is one of the best zombie games ever made. It is really good. It's difficult. It's got a good sense of like, hey, enjoy this, but also just get ready because some of the game is frustrating. Dead Island 2, at the end of the day, feels like Dead Island. Not in the way I would have expected it to, but it does feel like Dead Island. For one, it doesn't take place on an island. This takes place canonically many years after the first game, and you play as one of, I don't know how many characters there are, like 5, 4, 6, 4 to 6 characters. Same thing, you get to pick between different characters, and they all have different stats, different personalities, from what I can tell. I picked Jacob, who's like the guy on the box art. And from what the characters on the surface, like from the screen where you select them, they seem interesting. I've only ever played Jacob, and I'm thinking about going through each of them and playing through the game on each character. I'm gonna 100% the game. I have not 100% the game yet, but I'll get to Jacob though later. But it it feels so it takes place in L.A., Los Angeles. So it's in the U.S. Like I said, it takes place multiple years after the first game. So obviously the outbreak has wandered further, not just on the islands, has wandered onto the U.S., probably more of the world. Los Angeles, this is not an open map. I should say this. It's not technically open world. It's open in the sense that it's not necessarily like linear where you are literally going from point A to point B and then you're done. It is level based. There's multiple areas that you get to go to that are like open but not very big. And they have side quests and collectibles and things like that, but it's not one big open map. So it's levels connected to one another through like fast travel points and stuff. The map, Los Angeles, the game visually is insanely pretty. It's very pretty. It's stunning. It is one of the best looking games I think I've seen. And really, because the map isn't huge and sprawling, they can do so much detail. It's like I have to commend them on the amount of detail in the levels. Like the little small open areas, they're very detailed. Like there's a lot of things to look at. It feels, I mean, I've never been to LA, but it feels very LA. It feels very America. And you know what? Even though I was worried about the fact that this would not take place on an island and it wouldn't have that same fear factor, this game is not scary, by the way, at all. In my opinion, Dead Island, even to this day for me, can be a creepy game. Dead Island 2 just does not have that for me. It's the opposite. For me, it feels fun and goofy. I think it's because it's set in LA. It's very bright. There are a few nighttime areas, but it's a very bright game overall. Very bright. But I think that it taking place in LA, I enjoy it a lot. I like the levels. I think they're very fun to look at. They're fun to be in. It's actually kind of nice to be in America for this series because it's weird because it feels foreign because in this series it's just known for not being anywhere that's known. The whole point, not point, but the whole feeling of a lot of these games, Riptide and the first one, mostly the first one, you just feel so alone. Like you feel so away from people, which is such a big part of it. So it feels foreign, and it does feel foreign, kind of in a good way. It's different. It is interesting. The main story is mixed for me. The actual lore, it continues a lot of what Dead Island is. There's a certain returning character from the first game who's like not just returning, but literally a core part of the game, which is great. It's the best character from Dead Island. It is literally like the poster boy of Dead Island. Um, the missions are meh. The missions are just meh. They're not that super interesting. The characters are okay. Like the main set of characters are just straight up meh to me. They're meh. They're paced. I don't know. Well, I don't know. They're boring at most points. Um, but a lot of the side characters are super interesting, actually. Like that's the biggest thing. The side quests are super fun for the most part, and the characters are really unique and interesting. And the actual quests are much more unique in what you're doing. Um, the main story though is just kind of meh. The main story feels rushed. I mean, the overall game is not very long. It took me like 20 hours to finish the main game, the main story, and I was not rushing. I played at normal speed. I didn't do as much stuff as probably many people did. That's because my game was a bit harder. Because the way that the zombies work, they level up with you. So I didn't do a lot of the side quests, so I didn't really level myself up enough. So it was pretty difficult in the end. The game overall is pretty difficult. I'm gonna be honest. Some of the zombies, even the very low level zombies, are kind of just spongy. So you know, a little difficult. So if you think about playing it, just get ready for that. It's a bit hard, especially in the later parts of the game. Oh my god, some of the boss battles in the later parts of the games are actually kind of difficult. Um, so another big thing is the combat. Also mixed for me. When they were first kind of announcing the game again, like actually announcing the game, like recently announcing the game before it came out, a big thing they talked about was the gore. The game is bloody. And then they have this new system where zombies react to where you hit them. Like if you hit a zombie with a hammer and you hit them on the jaw, it'll actually like affect the jaw specifically. Like if you slice, it'll slice and it'll start showing parts of the inside of the zombie. It's like supposed to be immersive, but also just like so immersive it's kind of yucky. Um, that part of the game is true. I mean, that is that's the thing that they have. It is probably one of the most impressive gore systems in a game I've ever seen. It's very immersive. It's very gross. The game is gross. The game is so gross. There's blood and guts everywhere. That's another part of it that makes it feel very Dead Island. Dead Island is just zombie killing gore themed. That's just what the game is. And this game follows up with that. It is very zombie killing type of thing. It's heavy on the zombie killing too. It's like that's what the game is really making you feel like you're doing, just killing zombies. That's another part of it that really does feel Dead Island. I mean, it feels Dead Island in what you're doing. Um, and that part of the system, the gore system, is good. I think it's very immersive. It genuinely at times is yucky. Like it's even for me, it's difficult to like do and watch. Like it is quite immersive. However, the combat, the weapons, don't feel Dead Island to me. In the sense that Dead Island, controversial thing. Not everyone loves Dead Island's combat. Not everyone hates it. It's very mixed. I, for one, thought Dead Island 1's combat felt very heavy and light. It was very immersive. Every weapon really did have a feel to it. Like it felt like you had that weapon. The combat is not perfect. It's really not. And the guns are meh, right? Guns in Dead Island were just, oh, cool. They were just meh. Dead Island 2, the amount of weapons is great. I mean, it's perfect. You don't need a crazy amount of. You don't need Borderlands level crazy amount of weapons in the game. It's not a looter shooter. It's not how I view this game. It's not a looter shooter. I mean, I guess some people probably would view it because there's a lot of looting, but I don't like to view it that way. But the weapon upgrades for one, I'm just gonna get this out of the way, are just meh. I don't care about it that much. It's just kind of don't go into it thinking you're about to get some crazy stuff. Like you have your normal stuff. You get your electric, you get your fire, you get your the one cool one is like the acidic thing where it'll start eating away at zombies, a slow dying effect. And then some like normal modifications like making it to where your weapons are heavy but they do more damage, or lightweight but do less damage, or stuff like that. I guess for what it is, it's probably just about what you need. But I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting more from the game just for how it presented itself. It presented itself in a very goofy, hey, we're about to just go crazy. Like, we're about to literally just go nuts. So, the weapons are underwhelming, which kind of goes into the combat, and the weapons don't feel the same. Like, I have very, very loadout. I have big weapons, small weapons. I would say the small weapons that are fast and quick are very satisfying, very nice feel to them. The heavy weapons don't feel powerful at all. In fact, a lot of the weapons don't feel powerful because I do think that some of the zombies are a bit too spongy. They're just too spongy. And I mean, I get the whole, well, then level yourself up. But at the end of the day, when you're going into a game and you're just wanting to kill zombies, that's kind of annoying. That's not really that fun. It's quite aggravating, actually. So I don't know if it's the weapons necessarily, or if it's just the fact that I think the zombies are too spongy. But the big weapons, the heavy weapons, are really not it. I end up not really using them that much. The I'm actually not going to talk about that. I don't think. Anyway, the combat overall, meh. I don't know. It's the gore system. I do think is kind. I think it's impressive. I think it's neat. I think that that should be in every first person zombie game. That just really does make it. The game is yucky. It is a zombie game. It is very disgusting. It's grimy. It feels it's in this case because Dead Island 1 I would say wasn't necessarily bright. It wasn't dull, but it wasn't bright. A lot of the blood and guts in that game just felt very grimy. In this one, it feels grimy because it's disgusting in what it is. But in this case, the map and areas are so bright, so it feels colorful. So the blood and stuff in the game make the game pop in a weird way. So I kind of like what they did there. I think it's interesting. It makes it kind of puts a new spin on the nastiness of what it is. Um, let me think here because I'm trying to figure out how I want to go down the line with some of this stuff. I'll get some of this stuff out of the way. The skill cards, which is kind of a new take on like the skill tree. I actually enjoy the skill cards quite a bit. I think they're fun. They make your build for when you play way different each time because you can combine each different card. It's as simple as you find cards, and then as you play the game, you unlock more card slots where you can use more cards, and the cards are like based on a type of thing, like a survivor's skill card or this. It's based on types of things, and you find them, you earn them, and then you earn more spots to put them in, and then they just do different things, and then you can combine them to do a really specific build. They're good. I didn't think I'd like them because it's just not what I'm used to. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done, and honestly, just felt very good. And it's very customizable. You can do a lot with your character actually. So skill cards, I like it. Um, Zero bugs or issues personally. I don't know if that's a big issue or not. I haven't really looked into it. I haven't actually seen too many reviews of the game yet. Wanted to do my own before doing that, so I didn't go into this feeling biased or anything. But zero bugs for me. No bugs at all. I genuinely had a super smooth game. I mean, so far, I haven't had a single bug or issue. Um, the soundtrack. Oh my god, the music in this game is great. Music is really good. The theme is weirdly good. I'll even play it because I'm pretty sure it's not copyright, or if it is, I'm sure I'll be fine. But here, but the theme is it's crazy. It's really good. Um, Overall, it's like fun. Overall, I want to say that's a pro to it. Overall, it's a very fun game. You enjoy yourself when you play it until you get to parts of the game that are just difficult. But other than that, it's very fun to look at and it's very fun to play. So I think to kind of start finishing it off, it's I think the main problems with the game for me, at the end of the day, the main things that kind of bring points down for me is the fact that it's a Dead Island game. And not only that it's Dead Island, but it's Dead Island 2. So here's how I look at this game. Here's how I'm looking at it currently. It is short. It's $60 on Steam if I'm correct. I think it's $60 everywhere, unless it's on sale. But it is considered a AAA full-fledged game. The game is short. It's not long at all. If you told me this was DLC for another Dead Island game, I would not be surprised, and I would not think you were lying to me. This feels just like a very big DLC, like a massive DLC, like a $40 DLC. You know what I mean? Like a very big DLC. It's not though, and that's what makes this game, in my opinion, disappointing. This is not just a Dead Island game, but this is Dead Island 2. This is the full-fledged sequel. Like, I think everyone needs to sit down and just take a moment to really breathe that in. This is Dead Island 2. This is the sequel. This is literally the sequel to the game. To the game series, I should say, sorry. But it is the sequel. And this game had 10 years to potentially be what I could consider like an insanely good game. Think about it. If you gave a good studio, even Deep Silver, which I think is the original developer, if you gave them the game for 10 years, 10 years, think about that, 10 years. That's on par, I think, with GTA 6, right? Like 10 to 12 years or something like that. That's like kind of on par with how long GTA 6 has actually been worked on. 10 years. Think about that. 10 years gave this game. This game would, I think, be 10 times genuine. I'm not even just saying that, like 10 times better than what it is right now. This game feels, I'm gonna be honest, feels like it has been thrown through 20 different studios. I shouldn't say studios, developers. This game genuinely does not feel like it genuinely feels like it has not stuck. And it's weird because you play the game, you look at the fact that it's Dead Island 2, and then you remember what it's gone through, and then it ends up feeling it, it ends up feeling like it's still stuck in development hell. And I think that's the biggest issue with it for me. Is at the end of the day, it's disappointing. Because as a fan of Dead Island, I wanted so much more with this game. The issue with this game for me is not the location. It's not, because I'm sure a lot of people that are like diehard Dead Island fans probably just straight up don't like where it takes place, which I get. It's not, the location doesn't necessarily feel super Dead Island. But for me, that's not even near what's wrong with it. It's just the fact that it's underwhelming. It's super short. The ending is, yet again, no spoilers, but the ending feels rushed. And I'm just starting the DLCs, so I don't know if the DLCs try to continue it. I mean, so far, Sola, which is the DLC I'm playing, it feels like it maybe is, but not directly after. It just feels like maybe a side story. So yeah, and it's also paid, so you do have to pay for it if you want to continue the DLC or the story. I mean, so cool, I guess. Um, but the ending is just really rushed, and at the end of it, you kind of just feel like, what happened? Like, what actually ended up happening in this story? What did we know? What did we actually get to like do? And there's not a whole lot. So, biggest con is what really brings it down. Just the fact that it's underwhelming. I think that this game could have been much worse for the fact that it's gone through what it has gone through, but it also could have been way better if it got the time it deserved. Then I genuinely think that it could have been so much better. I think just overall the game is lacking for what it could have been. It could have been great. And it's just okay. This is probably one of the most just okay games I've played in a long time. So personally, I would I would give this game a solid 6.5. The problem is this game, without it being Dead Island 2, is not bad. This game would probably be a solid 7, 7.5. For me, it's quite polished. The biggest things that bring it down, besides the whole Dead Island nonsense, is it's just at sometimes it's a bit not nauseatingly difficult. The combat and weapons, I think, the weapon upgrades could use work. It's just kind of boring, and the story is just kind of meh, and the ending is just kind of. Ugh. And I think some of the zombies are just way too spongy, or hit spongy, I should say. I've been saying spongy, but I mean like hit spongy, if you know what I mean. They contain hits. They don't actually do any. Like they don't die as easy as you'd imagine. Even some of the zombie types that are like considered the lowest of the low. But overall, this is a pretty well polished game for what it is. So as just kind of a game, maybe like an indie title that tried to do something different, that was like $40 or $30 or something, I'd give it a solid 7, 7.5. The problem is this is a $60 sequel to one of the, in my opinion, arguably one of the best zombie games ever made. That genuinely does hurt it. And I know some people may not like to review games that way, but for me, that's the way I review games. I think that's what matters. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Let's be honest here for a second. If GTA 6 came out and it was super underwhelming, was not that fun, maybe a little bit of fun, the same exact situation here, people would be disappointed. It's the same thing. This is Dead Island 2. This is a game that I've been hyped for 10 years. Even when I thought the game was dead, I was still excited. I was still excited for the hopes that it would happen at some point. At least a revival of some kind, and be like, hey, you might have to wait another 5 years, but it'll come out eventually. But God, this game is just disappointing. Overall, with all the pros that it has, the cons and it being just Dead Island 2 really does just hurt it. So overall, this is going to be a 6, 6.5. I'll sit with a 6.5 just because I think the pros do help. But this is underwhelming. This game is underwhelming. At the end of the day, should you spend the full $60 for this game? Absolutely not. Don't do what I did, which was pre-order a game. I don't pre-order games often, just so you know. I really don't. The only time I pre-ordered games was Far Cry 5, this game, and then I will probably pre-order GTA 6. Even after pre-ordering this and being disappointed, I will still probably pre-order GTA 6. But even after that, oh my god, that was loud. Even after that, I'm still gonna pre-order GTA 6. Anyway, absolutely not. Do not spend your hard-earned $60 on this game. This game is not worth $60. This game, I recommend to try it out if it's ever free on like Ubisoft Plus or something, or maybe even Xbox Game Pass or something. Definitely try it out. It's worth a try. Or maybe if it's on sale for like under $30 or $40, sure, go for it. 60 is a straight up no go. Do not do that. I'm not kidding. It is not worth $60. But other than that, that's gonna be it. I think we're right under 30 minutes on this video. I'm just gonna stop it there. I probably have more that I probably didn't even talk about. But if you are a Dead Island fan and maybe you've played this game and you want to express your opinion, please do. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you disagree with, agree with. How do you feel about the game? Maybe you know more. Maybe there's some stuff that you know that I don't know. Just let me know. I'm always wanting to learn more stuff. So just blow it up if you will. If you watch this video and enjoyed it, let me know. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. I do plan on, like I said, reviewing both DLCs when I finish them. It will be, I literally won't do that until they're both done. because I think context for each is going to matter. So I'm going to do both and then review both separately, but on the same video because they're not. I mean, so far, Sola, I'm almost done with it. It's not very long. So, also, it's a bit sad when the DLC to a game is like size wise is like 30% of the game. Just saying. So I think that's gonna be it. If you enjoyed, let me know. Other than that, I will see you on the next video. Have a great, healthy day, week, weekend, whatever it is for you. See you next time.